Hello there, I'm Big Alias. Yes, I just paused for like a second and a half. I'm so impressed with myself that I managed to do that. Yes, we are talking about the universe. We're going to talk about the universe in this video. The entire solar of systems. I think I got that the wrong way around, but I was listening to the Universe Today podcast, which is a super awesome podcast. It's an astrophysics podcast, and it's a lot of fun, and I like listening to it. And this was a great episode. He was doing a Q&A, and someone brought up the question of, should we take telescopes to the moon? Should we? The hills in Hawaii are great. Lots of a lack of light pollution, and you get it up in the hills. It's a great position. That's fantastic. But imagine it on the moon, dude. That'd be awesome, right? And I think it would, but we have lots of robots floating through the galaxy at the moment, taking pictures. I'm not sure, I don't know, you can do a lot more from a grounded telescope. Anyway, yeah, not to get too into it, but the question was raised that I think was I think the answer to the question was absolutely fantastic. So the question was, obviously, should we take these to the moon? And the answer was, look, he gave a great analogy, which was when you go on holiday, you could just take a robot on holiday to Spain to take pictures for you, then you get your holiday pics, but it will never compete with actually being there. And I think that's an interesting analogy. But it's something that really struck with me, man. Something that just really it stayed with me, and I was thinking about it all day. It's this notion of like, I get it. Like the guy was saying, we always, there's this feeling that we always have to do things because we get something out of it, because there's something on the other end. And of course the question was, should we go to the moon so that we can plant a telescope there? And the answer was, why should we have to plant a telescope on the moon to go there? And I think that's a very interesting notion. Now, of course, on the I do sort of disagree in terms of like something so astronomical and something so expensive. I think, though I love the notion of space travel and exploring the universe, I think if we can do it from Earth without spending billions on actually going into space and sort of going to places we've already been to, then we should probably do that. We have our own issues down here as well. But I totally feel the same way with regards to what he was saying. I think one of the biggest issues we have as a society is our inability to just do things, just do stuff, and I think it's because we're not really able to yet. And there are some interesting notions of the future, and I do hope we can get into a position where we have all of the robots we need to service us and do things that we previously had to do. We see stuff like this with self-service checkouts and things like that. A lot of people like to complain about those, but that is a good step in the right direction for the future. Actually, the whole point of society is to become self-sustaining and to build things, to do things for us, so that we don't have to do things. And unfortunately, there's going to be some bumps along the way, and that's great. But I think it's very unfortunate that we're sort of in a position where we feel guilty that we can't just do stuff. There are so many people who they can't just play video games; they have to be able to stream while they're doing it. I feel guilty, fall victim to this too. I don't play video games unless I need a rank. I need a rank if I want to play Halo Infinite, or I need achievements if I want to play this single player game. I can't just have fun, and I don't know if it's conditioning. This is a very open-ended sort of talk. It's very rhetoric, because I don't really know. I don't know whether it's conditioning to constantly be in the need to have an output for an input, or we see everything around us creating an output, therefore we feel that we have to as well. I just think that it's kind of sad that we can't leave the house unless there's a shop to go to. We can't see a friend if we're not going to see a movie or get drunk or eat food. We can't just sit and talk, and even if we do sit and talk, we have to go somewhere interesting, because we can't just talk. We have to have done something to get to the point that we can. And I know this is taking something very macro and making it something very micro in retrospect, but I think, yeah, it would be nice to just sit and do things, Sometimes I like to just sip wine because I like the taste of wine and I like the way it makes me feel. But even then, that's probably the most sort of just doing things for the fun of doing it, thing that I do. But even then, I'm like, well, like, am I getting too drunk, or am I drinking too much, or should I try to remember whether this is a good wine, things like that. There's always something else to consider, and I kind of just wish there wasn't. I don't know, if you're watching this, let me know your thoughts in the description. I'd love to know what people think of this talk, and I guess I will see everyone absolutely later.